Episode 8. Andre Petroski, Sam Orpizza, myself. What's up, dude? We got you in here finally.
Living the dream, baby.
Just fresh off your recent win over Rodolfo Vieira in your 10th UFC fight.
Yeah,
now
which is
8-2.
amazing, right?
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a huge victory, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
How you feeling?
I feel good, yeah. I feel good. I would say probably between him and Mearshart, probably the biggest win of my career. I'd say that's safe. I mean, accolades-wise, like he's definitely got the best resume.
He was a multiple-time, I think, ADCC world champion.
Yep.
Pan Am world champion,
Yeah.
I think. Obviously, yeah, definitely by far the most decorated jiu-jitsu accolade.
Like a 15-time jiu-jitsu world champion, but a 7-time absolute champion. So like all weight class, like no weight class, yeah.
It's like Damian Maia. It's like he's like the new Damian Maia in the UFC. He is.
Yeah. I still think the line was crazy though.
What, were you a heavy underdog?
Plus 240?
240 or 230, and I'm sure it moved too. But still, nonetheless, I would think that somebody that knows fighting would have to look at it and say, okay, he's never knocked anyone out, and so he's probably got to take this fight to the ground in order to win. He's probably got to win by submission. All his wins are by submission. So he's got to win by submission. Well, dude, I think that most of those people would say, all right, he's going to have a tough time taking him down.
I didn't realize your cage defense was that good. I mean, he had you on the cage a couple times, and he was getting that single leg, and you kicked out of it every single time, man. He almost got to your back one time in the second round, and I was nervous for you. Yeah. I was driving home with my daughter, and I had it on the phone, and I was like, oh, man. Oh, shoot. Yeah.
So
two things for that, though. One, I think, bro, when it comes to our gym, we have some of the best grapplers and we do wall rounds. Dude, he's not going to be a better wrestler or better at takedowns than Sean, Igor. I knew that was not going to be the case. Two, by the time I heard his corner saying yo, Rodolfo, we got to get the fight to the ground, I knew he was already, one, tired, and his leg was already compromised. So I don't think he had a lot of energy. When he got to the body lock, he was like, damn, I can't mat return this guy. Yeah.
So going back to the betting line, though, why? Because it's not the UFC that makes the odds for us. Why do you think that you've continued to be put in this kind of underdog role in your career, even though you are very successful being 8-2? Obviously, you took the short notice with Pereira, it didn't go your way. The Malkoun fight was just fucking weird. You were winning, I thought. I thought you won the first round, and obviously you kind of knocked yourself out on his hip. Why do you think you keep getting...
Quality of opponents. That's what I think. I think that I've had a couple easy fights, a couple easy UFC fights for sure. I think if you compare Rodolfo's wins, even his losses, he lost to Chris Curtis and he lost to Fluffy, who are both top 15 guys. And I think that, his striking looked good against Chris Curtis. Obviously, Chris let Rodolfo come forward, and I think Rodolfo can fight okay when he comes forward, strike. Moving back, he can't fight going backwards.
But when you brought up the Malkoun fight, I do think a lot of people were curious about how that happened, and most people who watch the UFC, they've never sparred.
Yeah.
They've never competed on a level with people in front of them. Walk us through what happened to you on that exchange.
Yeah. I think that I was a little bit rocked going in between the first and the second.
Okay.
I remember going back to the corner and being I don't feel 100% right now. I don't know what punch hit me or what not, but I remember going back to the corner and just being
confused.
I don't know if I'm all here right now.
Yeah.
So then someone sent me the clip, and I didn't really realize what happened either at the time, but someone sent me the clip, and he threw a hook at the same time that I took the shot, and his thumb landed on the hook. That's what cut me open, so I ended up getting stitches in my head, and he landed the hook, and then I hit his hip. Now, at the end, when the fight was over, I was like, yo, what the fuck happened? And they were like, oh, you hit his hip on your shot. And I was like, why am I bleeding? Like, I've hit hips and, I've never been knocked out, but I've been like, kind of like, you get your bell rung from hitting hip, but I never like bled from it. And I was like bleeding, like,
Yeah, I
and
saw
I
you
was
got
like,
staples in
there
your
has
head.
to be more to this. So then when they showed me the video, I saw like the hook, because the thumb is not covered at all with the wrap or the glove.
So it was the thumb that.
Yeah, that cut me. Now I hit he hit the top of my head and then I hit his hip. So I don't know which one it was, or the fact I was like kind of like a little rocked before.
Yeah. Yeah, because running into a hip is.
And I also
you can
think
really fuck yourself up.
that I just didn't manage the situation well at all. Like, I need to be more dangerous like when I'm hurt. You know what I'm saying?
So 2 things for me. Do you remember when he soccer kicked you in the
Yeah,
ribs?
yeah.
You remember
Yeah,
being
that
at
shit
that point.
fucking hurt.
Yeah, me being there, obviously watching, and me and Sean, and everybody being there, it looked like you hurt yourself in the fans' point of view from the shot. But I did see in the slow motion, it was kind of like it wasn't really a hook, but it was more like a short angled jab. It was kind
Yeah.
of strange. But question number 2, obviously you remember getting kicked, but number 2, is that a fight that you would want back, being as though that this fight? So, as you know, I got offered Rodolfo. He said no. Then
Yeah.
the next fight they made was Malkoun,
Yep.
Rodolfo. Malkoun got hurt.
Yeah.
You got
so they
Rodolfo.
offered me Malkoun in Australia,
And he said no.
and he said no.
Is that a fight you still would like to get back?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
So, this is probably leading towards, obviously, the next fight call out, which you've had some questions about.
Yeah, no, I do have a lot of questions for, and me and Joe were talking before you got here, but what is it about Bo Nickal, or why Bo Nickal? Like, out of every UFC fighter there, what is it about Bo Nickal that makes you want to fight him or want that fight?
Well, first and foremost, it's the easiest fight in the top 15. And that means something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to climb the rankings.
Is he top 15?
I think he's 15 right now.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know.
Can we double check that? Who's Rogan's guy?
Jamie.
Jamie.
Alex is our Jamie.
Jamie.
I'll find out.
Joey's going to know it.
Someone told me the other day he's 15.
I don't think that's true. I'd be very upset.
Is it the wrestling? Is it because you were
Okay,
a wrestler
so
too?
personally, yeah.
Fact. Number 22.
All right.
So he is, and I think I'm 19, 18.
yeah.
I think I looked.
Yeah.
And I think you're 29.
I don't think there's an easier fight in the top 20.
Yeah.
So anyways, but on a personal level, like so in wrestling, we have the Dan Hodge Trophy, which is the Heisman of wrestling. So the greatest wrestler that year of all weight classes gets the Dan Hodge Trophy winner. He gets the Dan Hodge Trophy. Bo Nickal was the Dan Hodge Trophy winner. So he was the best wrestler in the country at all weight classes that year. Well, like, I want a piece of that. I want to test
I like it,
myself.
yeah.
No, I just feel like I never accomplished what I could have in college, and I feel like I want to test myself against the best wrestlers. And I think I match up very well against really good grapplers. Obviously, we've seen with Mearshart, Malkoun, Rodolfo, yeah.
Do you think that people misconstrue your call out of Bo Nickal being more of a personal, like, I don't like him, versus you actually, what you just said, wanting to test your wrestling against his and being able to take the wind out of his sails? Is there a personal part of you that doesn't like Bo Nickal?
Does that help me get the fight?
I think if you were more active, my honest answer as a
Yeah,
friend,
like, you
I
haven't
think-
thrown a hand truck through a bus window yet. Like, how bad do you really want to
think-
fight
I mean,
this
I'll
guy?
talk shit. I mean,
think
I think he's kind of like a very fake person.
We've heard.
Yeah.
I don't know firsthand.
Yeah.
You don't know firsthand. But as, you know.
Look, I'm sure
real
he's a good
response,
guy.
I think if you were more active on social media,
Yeah.
I think but you are putting yourself in good position. You've at least gotten him to respond, which his response was, the UFC is not letting me fight cans anymore.
Right.
That pissed me off.
No, I love that.
I
Look
love
what
that too.
position he's in now. you better not fight a can next.
Yeah.
Or else I'm going to be like, yo, what did you just say?
Yeah, and look, when you look at your UFC career thus far,
Yeah.
you went on a hot streak in the beginning.
Yeah.
Then you went on a 2-fight losing skid.
Yeah.
And now
Three fight win now. Yeah.
3-fight win. Like, how are you feel? Like, do you feel? All right. So, what was the guy's name? Jason Fremd was
Josh Fremd.
Josh Fremd was your first fight after the Malkoon fight, right? Your confidence level now compared to then. Do you feel?
Yeah, 100%. I was like really.
The wind's at your back right now.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure. That was
I
a tough feeling.
remember having a talk with you
Yeah.
after that because I was mad at you.
Yeah.
For something you told me, which we don't have to say,
Yeah.
but something you told me.
Yeah, no, I was feeling the pressure before the whole leading up to that fight because I just knew like.
Back against the wall.
Yeah, back against the wall, just
Fighting
like
for
that.
your
I
job.
have to win this fight. Like I cannot go on a 3-fight losing streak. People don't come back from 3-fight losing streaks very often.
In your life, though, do you think that's when the best Andre Petroski shows up? When your back really is up against the wall?
It sounds good, but no, I think when I'm comfortable and confident and letting it fly, I think I do better. Yeah. Yeah. Now, the position I'm in now, I think I'm more dangerous.
Okay. Yeah. Looking back on your Rodolfo fight, is there any critiques you have of yourself or things you wish you did or stuff you wanted to do differently in the fight?
Of course, that second round, like I'm way better when I'm going forward. Like when I'm pressing forward and I'm moving my head and I'm shaking and I'm doing the right things and I'm feinting and I keep moving my feet, I'm dangerous. Like I can beat the jab, I can beat the leg, like I can do all those things. When I'm sitting back waiting and stuck, that's not my spot. That is not where I do well.
Putting your back against the fence because you were backing up.
Yeah, and even in I recognize that in training is that the times when I was getting taken down by Samander or the times I was getting hit.
Who is a very high level wrestler.
For sure, but it was never in the center of the cage. It was never when I was going forward.
Yeah.
It was when I'm sitting waiting with my back 2 feet, 3 feet from the cage. That's when I was given. So that's just learning and recognizing where I shouldn't be, should and should not be.
So I want to ask a difficult question, or not a difficult question, but you've had 3 fights since you were on your 2-fight skid. Before that, you alternated finishes. You haven't had a finish in a while. Yeah. What do you contribute that to, being as though I feel you could have finished Fremd, I feel you could have finished Budka? Yeah. What do you attribute that to? Is that the time off? Is that the nerves? Or is that a lack of game plan? Or is that just the level of competition that we face in the UFC?
I think that I really don't want to say. I don't want to say. We were doing a lot more jiu-jitsu when Daniel was on the team. I hate to fucking bring up Daniel, but I just think we got to get back to. I haven't been attacking subs like I used to. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I used to like hunt submissions.
Front headlocks.
Yeah, and I think that we have those abilities to get submissions. We just got to get back to it. I think the focus has been more on like managing the fight and like winning the whole fight rather than just like hunting finishes. But I think that like with a couple adjustments, we could get back to that.
Yeah, because I personally think that in the Josh Fremd fight, definitely could have finished the head and arm.
For sure. And definitely with Budka. I could have taken Mount at any point in that fight. And I played that really safe. Yeah. And it's that one kind of does hurt because they gave me that fight as an opportunity to get some highlights, to get a finish. Yeah, and I didn't really take advantage of it the way I should have.
Would you say a part of it was the pressure still wasn't off? Because for the people that don't know, that was a month after you had just come off your 2-fight losing streak and dominated Josh. Yeah. And then literally as you're not even like happy to be there, sort of, you get told about the next fight. Yeah. And you were kind of burnt out, wanted a little bit of a break. Do you think that is also you not having the time in between fights to be hungry to get in there and get a finish? Does that affect the mentality at all?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Does the fact that and again, correct me if I'm wrong, looking at your last 5 fights.
Yeah, hold on, Sammy. It's fucking hot in here.
Yeah, take that
I
off.
gotta just.
3 jackets.
No, I got it. It's just too fucking hot in here, bro. Let me just.
Hold on. Oh, he's got the Joe pipe.
You gotta get the microphone.
Don't lose the mic. Don't break it.
Oh shit.
We're going to lose our deposit.
Oh shit.
Whoa, this is the
Here we
OG
go,
right
bro.
here.
I gotta take out.
That's the Joe
Yo,
Piper tank top.
have you
I don't
been
know if
lifting
y'all
again?
know this guy.
Have you been lifting again?
Dude, I'm back, baby. I'm back. I did curls today.
Back on the 10 grams of creatine?
I'm back on 10, maybe 11. Who knows? You know? It all depends on the day.
You got to hold that mic. You still got to get that mic close. What do you want? Put the hoodie back on.
When you're done shutting up about your boxing and your bicep curls, like put that microphone up to your face.
What are we walking around at right now? A week out from your
Like
fight.
211.
211?
Yeah.
Feeling good?
Yeah, I feel good.
So your last 5 fights, how many of those were, because I feel like you take fights on short notice.
Yeah.
So of those 5 fights, how many were like, hey, you're going to be fighting this guy in 2 months and you're on the card?
Of the 5 fights?
Of those last 5 fights.
My last 5. So Pereira was the first fight, and that was on 10 days notice.
That's 10 days notice.
No. You fought that Asian guy in Abu Dhabi short notice.
But he said the last 5.
Last 5.
Oh, last 5.
Because I'm just getting the 2 lose
I got it in the
losses.
face today.
I'll go from the beginning though. My first fight was with Gilmore. That was like 3.5 or 4 weeks. They called me. I was looking for regional fights, and they called me. Mick called me. I was in the grocery store, and he's like, it was just like a random number, and I answered it, and they were like, he's like, yo, Andre, it's Mick Maynard, and I was like, what's up, Mick? He's like, can you make weight in 3.5 weeks? And I was like, yeah, for sure. And then I hung up the phone. I was like, there's no fucking way that was him.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
someone
the way it
just
happens,
prank
though.
called. I was like, someone just prank phone called me. So I called my manager. I'm like, is this real? He's like, yeah, it's real. So I was like, oh shit. And then I was at Eddie's gym, and they called me. They're like, my manager's like, they want you to fight next weekend. Very favorable opponent. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, send me the name. I look at him, 3-2. That was his record. 3-2. I was like,
How the fuck did he get in the UFC? Let's just ask that
I'll tell
question.
you why. He got into the UFC at heavyweight at 3-0. He got signed at 3-0. He got into heavyweight. Failed for
dropped down to
steroids.
middleweight.
Failed for steroids. Dropped all the way down to middleweight.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, for sure. And then I called Jonovan, and I was like, yo, they just offered me a fight next weekend.
That's wild.
Against a guy that's 3-2. And he's like, yeah, 100%. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take it. He's like, yo, next weekend's Abu Dhabi. And I was like, no. They didn't say anything about that. And he was like, yeah, next weekend's Abu Dhabi. I was like, it must be the following week. So I called my manager back. I'm like, is next week Abu Dhabi? He's like, yeah. I was like, guess we're going to Abu Dhabi. Yeah. I'm not saying no. Like, yeah, so those 2 were short notice. Maximov I had a full camp for. Then I fought Turman. That was like full camp. And then Pereira was, then I fought Mearshart. Mearshart was like 6 weeks. I had a 6 weeks heads up. Then I fought Pereira. That was 10 days notice. I was in Thailand. Yeah. And then Malkoon was a full camp.
Malkoon was
I had a full camp for Malkoon. And then Josh Fremd was like 5 or 6 weeks.
We'll consider that a full camp.
Yeah, that's perfect for me.
Yeah.
Budka was a month.
Budka was like a month. Yeah, they gave me like a month.
We'll consider that a short notice.
Yeah.
That's 4.
Yeah, and then this one was short notice too.
Yeah, so 5 of your UFC fights have been short notice fights. Yeah. You're a good company man.
Yeah. And they've taken care of me obviously because of that.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Do you feel that, do you feel having a full camp makes you a better fighter, or do you think those short notice fights are like...
There's benefits to both.
Yeah.
Having a full camp, you can really like game plan and like work on like specific things. Like for this camp, like we worked on the calf kick a lot. And, not that it can't get better. Joey always points out. I mean, it can get better, the calf kick.
You felt the difference.
For sure. But was effective. I mean, probably won me the fight.
Nonetheless,
Yeah.
yes, and his
Yeah.
leg was swollen, yes.
Yeah. So there's benefits to having a full camp. You can work on like strategy and like work on game plan and stuff like that. But the short notice fight is like, I feel like you do have in the back of your head, it's like you can just go out and say fuck it, because it's like if you lose, it's like, well, they only gave me 3 weeks to get ready, like, because then you can always say like, oh, well, just give me a full camp for the next one.
And I think the bigger disadvantage is for the guy you're fighting too, because I mean, maybe he was training for someone 6'2" who's a righty or whatever, totally different style, totally different, and now he has 3 weeks. And that gets in your head, too. So, yeah.
Yeah, I heard Rodolfo say in the interview, like, yeah, like, what did you think about the opponent shift? And he's like, well, yeah, I got to prepare for a southpaw now.
And you came out righty.
I came out righty, yeah. But, I mean, it wouldn't take much to watch that, like, I've been orthodox a lot in my last 5 fights. Yeah.
So being in the UFC, 10 fights deep, 8-2,
Yeah.
very successful. Is this something you always envisioned for yourself? Did you see yourself coming this far and still more to come?
I don't think so. I think that if you would have told me you're going to be 8-2 in the UFC, I'd have been like, wow. That's pretty impressive.
What is your biggest goal while you're in the UFC?
I want I want memorable fights. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying I'm done. Like, that's not what I'm saying here. But what I'm saying is, like, whether I have 3 fights left, 5 fights left, 10 fights, like, I want some type of stamp on my career. Okay. You know what I mean? Of course. Like, that would be, like, a great fucking stamp. But I want something. Like, there's got to be some type of stamp on my career. That's important to me.
I have a secondary call for you, by the way. It just hit my brain.
So, I threw a couple names, but let's hear yours first.
I say Bo Nickal, obviously, because that's what
Yeah.
your heart wants. I say Paul Craig. Yeah. I say Malkoon.
Joey wants everyone to fight Paul Craig.
He won't fight me, so he said yes, and that guy is fucking shitting his skirt somewhere in Scotland. And, yeah, I think Shabazz, I didn't think about that one, but I think Shabazian's a really good one. But I also think...
Bruno Ferreira. That was another name I threw out.
I'm not interested to see you fight him, not personally, but I think Cesar Almeida, too.
Yeah.
I think you would definitely have your way on the ground
I
with
think,
him.
yeah.
Dangerous striker.
But not, yeah.
Yeah,
But, like, for beating Pereira, I was not, like, incredibly impressed by his striking. I just thought personally when I watched now, maybe back then it was a little bit different, but I just think Pereira's a way more dangerous striker.
Then Almeida.
Where did you see, dude, he got outstruck by Roman Kopylov.
Who did?
Almeida.
Oh, yeah. No, I
It was
definitely-
close, but
Yeah. I think his. Yeah, no, I don't think that. I think they're kind of the same level. Yeah. I would say that Almeida's a little bit more clean, and I don't think he would fade as easy as Pereira if you're able to get him deep.
Yeah. He's also not nearly as big as Pereira.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck they were the same weight.
Pereira's a big dude.
He's massive.
I remember seeing him out there, and I was like, damn, this motherfucker's big. Like, he is a big dude. So, but I would like to see you get that one back too, because I think Fluffy really was able to expose
I was
him.
talking about
Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't watch their fight, Almeida and Alex Pereira.
They fought in kickboxing ways back, and Almeida beat him
won.
twice.
Yeah.
So this is the first time, because, I mean, you are a big celebrity, Andre, that we actually asked the audience of the Locked In podcast, what do you want to ask Andre Petroski on the show? So Delco Jesus he said, what's it like knowing little Bo Peep Nickal is trying to duck him, even though that's the fight to make?
I think that it's only a matter of time.
Only a matter of time.
His he talked a lot of shit. Like, no one's got 10% of my wrestling. Like, he talked a lot of shit.
Yeah.
His credibility goes down the more people realize that, like, I've continued to try to fight him and he won't fight me.
Well, I think his credibility also has gone down after his last performance because he didn't use his wrestling whatsoever. Yeah. And a lot of people credited that to the fact that maybe somebody was in his ear saying, yeah, Paul Craig's really going on the ground, and it kind of made him afraid.
I agree, but I think the Brundage fight exposed him more than the Paul Craig fight because after the Paul Craig fight, he could sit there and say, well, anytime I want to wrestle, I'm the best wrestler, I can wrestle, blah, blah, and no one can say anything. But with the Brundage fight, it's like, he kind of got he got a couple takedowns defended. Like, Brundage, he didn't look as good as that fight started going on. And I think that Brundage is not a world champion grappler. I don't think that you can say he's a world champion grappler. So it would be interesting to see, I think you could definitely make an argument that if you put Bo against a world champion grappler, he's going to struggle.
I just want to see what's going to happen when he gets really hit by somebody, too. I feel like he hasn't faced real adversity in a fight yet, and that's not to take away from anybody he's fought. He hasn't been kicked in the head. He hasn't been elbowed in the head. I haven't seen anything.
I mean, he fought at what? Fucking Paul Craig's 6'3"?
Yeah.
Paul Craig didn't teep him. He didn't kick him.
Yeah.
He didn't, he was afraid of getting taken down, and he was just kind of waiting. And Bo was able to throw jabs and 1-2s, but it was the same thing. I think he proved we all knew how green he was on the feet, but it also proved that there's, how do I say it? Maybe there's some bitch in him that if he thinks that you can give him some adversity on the ground, he's not going to take it there.
The one thing I'll say from listening to him talk about training is that, especially with striking, is he says he brings in these really high level boxers that just work with him. That he made it seem like, he's training really smart and, it's all about improving and these boxers aren't trying to kill him, which I don't have the
That's not the
recipe
case at
success.
Marquez MMA.
Not at all. And I'm not saying that you don't need that also. You certainly need some of that. But you're certainly not going to build and see where your nuts are at by doing that. And that's what you're talking about. You're talking about, I like to see how he can handle adversity.
Yeah, face adversity, actually
and
really
I don't
be in a
think
fight.
he's facing adversity in training is what I'm saying. So I'm interested to see, once he does, how he responds.
Yeah, because you see high level, especially wrestlers, right? Like Brock Lesnar, for instance, right? And you saw what happened when he fought Cain Velasquez, right? And there's other names I can name, and I don't want to name drop them, but the thing you see is you see these super high level wrestlers, they come in with all these accolades, and then they get knocked out, and then you really don't hear from them anymore.
There was a moment in the Paul Craig fight where I felt like the momentum was really starting to fastly shift towards Paul Craig, and Bo was able to take it back. I forget at what point, if it was in the second, it was midway through the second or something, but I thought Paul started getting really comfortable. He was talking in his corner between rounds, and he was like, yeah, I'm good. And I thought he was going to really start letting it fly.
And he did
never
fucking
did.
nothing.
He never fucking did.
He fucking shit his skirt again. It's fucking
Yeah, for someone who gets that hyped up at a weigh-in, you know what I mean? If you're gonna get in the face-off, if you're gonna get in my face and make that big of a scene and wear the Braveheart stuff, you better come out and fight. You know what I mean?
I think that's what irritated me so much.
He comes out and pulls guard.
So much about our fight not coming to fruition is because he tweeted at UFC right after I beat Mark and was like, UFC, let's get it, I'm in. And then goes ghost mode. We reach out, try to make the fight happen, and he just fucking.
Well, what he said, what did he say?
He didn't say anything to me. I DM'd him and everything.
He tweeted at the UFC.
He tweeted at the UFC,
And
let's
said
make
what?
the fight happen. Yes, I'm in, let's do it. As I called him out in my post fight. And, then we don't hear anything. I was begging Mick for it. He's like, he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. He's like, we're offering him some fights, and he doesn't want those. He's not going to take the fight with you. And I'm like, so I was frustrated about that. But coming back to the getting in your face, the whole antics.
I know, and I just
and
keep
then
thinking about
fighting
the guy
way.
that's fighting this weekend, that Ion Cutelaba.
Ian Cutelaba.
He fights this weekend, right?
Cutelaba tonight, yeah.
He used to do the same shit, bro.
But I will say, he does fight. He does swing. He backs it up. I'm not saying he's very good.
I just remember seeing you guys, when you cornered me for Maximov, I remember seeing you next to him, and I was like, God damn, Joey's twice the size of this dude. And he was a 205, he's a 205 pounder. Yeah.
I think 205's in the future.
Dude, fuck yeah.
I think so. But I got a little more work to do in our division. try to make that title run.
It's just like the quality. I think that there's a lot of really, really easy fights at 205. Yeah.
There's also some really big guys at 205.
For sure.
Yeah. But I'd have to probably take off a little bit of time, get my size up.
Which would be no problem.
It would be no problem if I was able to just do nothing but lift and get big for a little bit. But yeah, so we'll see what the future.
I mean, if you just do just take like a month and just lift in the morning and then do some type of training at night. Like nothing crazy. You're not doing like fucking 4 sessions a day. Just do a lift in the morning and then like an hour session at night. I think you could get big.
I could. But back to you, Bo Nickal. If it happens, when it happens, where would be ideal for you?
It makes the most sense to do it in Pennsylvania.
It does.
It makes the most sense. He lives in State College. Penn State's right there. They fill Bryce Jordan Arena. He can bring all those people down. I'll even go to Bryce Jordan. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to go put on an event in Penn State, which he's talked about before, you can't fight anybody else but me.
I'm getting like a Vision Quest vibe from like, it's not like you want a payday. It's not like you want.
It's for legacy.
Yeah, dude. Andre, I'm with it, man. I respect it, dude. I hope Bo Nickal sees this and obliges and says, you know what? Let me fight Andre Petroski.
I think it's a matter of time. It's just a matter of when.
I think he shows interest just by responding.
Yeah.
And I think he likes to fight. Yeah. And I think it may happen. You're on a 3-fight win streak, and you're 8-2.
And you just beat the best grappler in the UFC.
Yeah. So I'm not
And you're
gonna
wearing
lie
heart-shaped
either.
glasses,
I'm not
still.
gonna lie either. With how tired Rodolfo was, I do believe that you could have submitted him as well.
It's crazy because
I believe you could have submitted everybody you've beaten, but
dude, it would have been sick if I submitted him and then they gave me my black belt in the cage. that was my real dream. I mean, obviously you can't like ask for a black belt, but
Now you're just like naming out like 80s movies.
why
like,
didn't
you're
you
like,
just
you want this
threaten
to be
it?
like,
Just pretend you were gonna go for something.
whatever.
So we'll wrap it up a little bit,
Yeah.
but what is your ideal timeline? Are you looking to get back in there soon? Are you looking to wait a little bit?
So I think they just announced today that they're doing Newark June 7th. So
Somebody just texted me and asked me, hey,
Yeah.
can we go to that? And I
Yeah.
was like, I didn't even see that.
Yep.
Prudential Center,
Today.
Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
So around June time you would like. That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be sick. That is the Jersey Devils Stadium?
I
think.
believe so, right?
I don't know. I hate the New Jersey Devils. Don't ask me any questions about the New
How
Jersey Devils.
depressed are you guys about fucking USA losing to Canada in hockey after all this crap that's going down? Did anybody watch this?
Shit.
Bro, I was watching
I don't like
this
that they booed
yesterday.
the national anthem. I don't.
I hated that. It made me
Yeah.
so mad. But then
Like Canada's lucky that they're connected to the United States. They are.
I saw a video on that today, and I
They're
never
lucky.
thought about that. But that is so true. They were talking about like, dude, they don't need. They talk about we don't
They have
need
the best
a
border.
military. We don't need a military. Like, yeah, dude, because you got fucking the USA protecting you.
Yeah.
Like you ain't fucking nuking Canada. We're right next to you.
Yeah, we're not going to allow it. Yeah.
Yeah, that, made
That
me-
pissed me off seeing
It
the.
made me
I don't like
mad.
seeing the national anthem get booed. I really don't.
I don't either. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like every time it plays, you like think of all the wars.
Yeah.
This country's been.
I'm
through
proud to
and,
be an
like,
American.
Coming out on top and things like that. So for you to boo it, you're a fucking loser. But it did fucking piss me off. They lost in overtime, 3-2. But I guess Canada's always kind of had that. They're always been.
That's
good
their
at ice
sport.
hockey.
For hockey, yeah.
Yeah.
But we beat them the
It's
other
the
day.
ice, you know. It's colder.
It's cold.
The
They got-
out, you know. It's north.
There's Moose there.
There's Moose. Moose playing love hockey.
Besides Bo Nickal, what's a dream fight for you in this division?
Dude, this was obviously gone now, but like for me, I grew up and I watched Chris Weidman fucking beat Anderson Silva, and I was just like, this dude's a fucking legend. Like he just beat Anderson Silva. For what I would say, Anderson Silva, just to be safe, just to be fair, is like top 3 middleweight.
He's on my
of all
Mount
time.
Rushmore. He's
Yeah,
on my Mount
Anderson
Rushmore.
Silva's top 3 middleweight of all time. If not in the top 5 ever of all weights.
He had the most style points during his time.
Yeah,
for
dude.
sure.
So a guy that beat him would be like, that would be a really fuck. But obviously he just left.
My last question for you. When this is all said and done and we're old, what do you wish to have accomplished in your life with this short window of time that we have to compete in the UFC? What is your end goal through the UFC and beyond?
I want some memorable fights. Like, I think that the Maximov fight was very memorable because I was such an underdog. And, like,
I believe he was a minus 800, something like that.
well, by submission was minus 1,400. So, yeah, I think it was a little less than 800. But nonetheless, people come up to me. It's been, 3 years since then? People still come up to me all the time and are like, dude, I made $1,000 on your Maximov fight. Like, dude, I made so much money when you choked out Maximov. Like, people say that shit all the time. Like, that means something to me. Like 10 years from now, people come like, dude, do you remember when you beat Bo Nickal in Bryce Jordan Center? Like, dude, you were plus 250 and you came out and fucking starched him. Like, dude, that shit gives me chills, dog.
We got to reel it in, though. I don't think you're going to be a plus 250. I think they're going to make you a fucking plus 1,000.
Dude,
because they're going to ride the Bo Nickal train.
The fights that I remember the most, the fights that mean the most to me are when you're a huge underdog and you pull off the upset. That to me, those are the shits that I remember the most. Like when Darian Caldwell beat Brett Metcalf. Yeah. That was like one of the biggest upsets of all time. Like that's what I remember. I remember those matches. When Matt Serra knocked out GSP. He was like, bro, what, plus 1,000, 1,500, goes out and starches GSP.
Juliana Pena beats Amanda. Don't care to see that fight again, but
that's the shit. Like I want more of those attached to my resume.
Love it.
Yeah.
Got anything else?
No, that's it, man. Andre, you were a great guest, man. We really appreciate it.
Episode 8. You came
the books.
Oh,
through.
you never asked me about the guy.
No, I didn't want to.
All right.
What was it?
Someone called me.
Yeah. And I asked Andre if I could ask him on the show.
I don't care. I'll tell you.
All right, go ahead.
So
What happened on, wait, I have to ask the question. What happened on the Virginia Tech recruiting trip?
yeah. So
When was this?
this was my junior year of high school. So it was my official visit. One of the 5 was to Virginia Tech, and we were driving. Like I was like, they were hosting me for the party, and we all piled into this truck to go to the second party, and they were like, "Come on, jump in." So some girl like sat on my lap as we were piling into this car, and this kid from in the back hit me over it, said something and hit me, and so then we got it. It was one of the wrestlers on the team, one of the he was like a junior. His name was Nick something, and he was like a 49 pounder.
A junior in college?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Imagine bringing a recruit in and then you hit this. So
And punches you in the back of the head.
Punches in the back of the head.
Yeah, that's
so
pretty
we
lame.
get out, we get to the party, and I was like, and I was with Josh Jeva, who was like my boy, down to ride for sure. So I said something to him, and he brushed me off, like, shut up, little kid, blah, blah, blah. So then at the next party, we go outside,
And that's who asked the question now that you said his last name. I didn't know to say his last name. No, Josh.
Josh Jeva.
Yeah, he asked because it was a Polish last name. I didn't know to say. But go ahead.
So I go up to the kid at the party, and I said something, and he had a full beer can, like unopened, in his hand. And he just turned around and cracked me with this beer can unopened. My nose just like fucking exploded. So I drive him up against the house. I had like an over-under against the house, and he pushed back off the house, launched this dude for 5, sent him, got him full mount, and just started fucking this dude up.
Oh, you launched him.
Oh, yeah.
You dropped the shit out of him.
He'd cracked me. I was giving it to him.
Yeah, he hit you with a beer can. He
Yeah.
punched you in the back of the head. And
Yeah.
then,
So I get on top and I just start dropping bombs, and I hit him like a couple times, and then like the heavyweight grabs, they ripped me off. Yeah, there was a couple. They were not happy at all. So at this point, and like, dog, y'all did me dirty. First of all,
Yeah.
like I was full right to defend myself, but nonetheless, they were pissed. They're like, get out of here. You're never coming to Virginia Tech, blah, blah, blah. So my dad and my grandfather, they came down with me for the visit. So I knock on their hotel room, me and Josh Chapman, just covered in blood at like 3:30 in the morning. And I'm like, I don't think I'm going to school here.
That's an Andre story.
They were like, what the fuck happened? And I was like, yeah, I don't think it's going to work out. And I went into he was like, I still want you to meet with Dresser in the morning, the coach. I was like, God damn it. So the next morning I went to Dresser's office and I was like, he offered me like 96% scholarship to go there. And I was just like, dude, there's no way. I'm sorry. Like, there's no way I can go to school here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to end it.
Damn.
That's a good story.
That is
Yeah.
wild.
It's funny because one of the kids that was there, that was like, I'll make sure you never come to school here. He ended up transferring to UNC when I was at
you were
UNC.
there?
Yeah.
Oh my
He
God.
left Virginia Tech and went to UNC.
Because
Wow.
your collegiate
You should always be
career,
nice to people, dude. You should.
You were at Bloomsburg and then you went to UNC,
No,
right?
no. I did my first 2 years at UNC.
And then went to
I went to Bloomsburg.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, runner up at States. We appreciate you, brother.
Oh, yeah.